authored the reasoning portion. So my one love is verbal. So English, reading comprehension, vocabulary, grammar, and all of that is something that I'm really passionately into. All right. Good evening. How are you? So tell me a bit about yourself. If you can unmute your mic, then that would be wonderful. Also, in the chat box, I'm giving you a link which you can click open and you'll find a form. It's okay. It's all right. If you can just click on this form and fill it up, and then we'll start the session. Okay. I'm muting myself for a minute. Once you're done, just give me a yes. All right. Thank you so much, Durga. All right, let's get started. We'll talk a little bit about GRE, and if there are any questions that you have, feel free to ask me at any point of time. Okay. All right. So let's quickly talk about this exam. I'm sure you're already aware of GRE. So GRE, or Graduate Record Examination, is the exam that we're talking about. Now, this exam is a very flexible exam, and that is the main characteristic of GRE. The good thing about GRE general test is it's used around the world and it's used for different types of programs. So whether it's a master's program, whether it's a specialized master's in business program, whether it's an MBA program, a JD program, doctoral programs, or for awarding fellowships. Different colleges around the world are using scores from the GRE general test. Whether it's graduate school, business school, or law school, whatever stream of study you want to get into, you can take the GRE general test and, then you can use it to apply. And the good thing is that these scores are valid for 5 years, not one, not two, but full 5 years. So imagine you're in your pre-final year, that is in your third year of graduation, right? You're in your third year, and in the third year, it's relatively easier, right? So you decide to take the GRE in the third year, and then you complete your fourth year, and then you get into a job for the next 2 years. You still have a 2 year window in which you can apply to colleges after 2 years of working also. So that's a lot of scope you have, right? So the GRE general test is a very wonderful test that will allow you to write, the test and then use these same scores for the next whatever amount of years. So that's a very big advantage that you get, right? So therefore, use it. Also, interestingly, now the GRE general test, a lot of colleges had done away with it, but a lot of colleges are now taking it. So, for example, Stanford, MIT, okay, UCLA. Okay, these are all colleges which are taking the GRE general test for admission. So therefore, what an amazing, chance that you get for yourself if you're writing GRE. Now, beginning September 2022, September 22, 2023, that's last year. The timing and everything of GRE general test has changed. It's now 1 hour and 58 minutes. There are 5 sections. The first is an analytical writing one. Then you have 2 verbal reasoning sections and 2 quantitative reasoning sections. The verbal reasoning and quantitative reasoning can come in any order. So the first section, which is the analytical writing, the essay section, that's fixed. But the verbal reasoning, both the sections can come in whichever order. So in the analytical writing, you have one task. Earlier, there were 2 tasks. So now there's just one analyze and issue task, which is of 30 minutes. So you have to essentially write an essay on a topic, right? That's your analytical writing. Then the verbal reasoning, the first part of the verbal reasoning has 12 questions, which is to be completed in 18 minutes. And the second part has 15 questions, which is to be completed in 23 minutes. Then you have the quantitative reasoning, and again 2 sections. The first section, 12 minutes for 12 questions in 21 minutes. And the second 15 questions to be done in 26 minutes. So that is your entire paper. So 1 essay, 2 English, 2 verbal reasoning sections, 12 and 15 minutes, and 2 quantitative reasonings, 12 and 15 minutes. Again, timing 18, 23, 21, and 26 minutes in that order. Now, the good thing is, like I said, analytical writing is always first. The verbal, quantitative reasoning, and any unidentified or unscored section may appear in any order after the analytical writing section. So that's that. Now, if you look at the analytical writing section. Hi, Vansh. Good evening. So if you're looking at the analytical writing section, it is testing your critical thinking and your analytical writing section. There's only 1 task, not 2 tasks. How are you? Good evening. So, okay. So I'll just take a moment, Vansh here, and I'm going to give you a link in the chat box. Please click on this link and fill the form as you go along. And if you have any doubts or anything, you keep asking me. So here, you're going to be expected to write an essay. Okay. Now, they will give you an issue, a problem, and then you have to analyze that and develop an argument with reasons and examples to support your position, right? So there is essentially an essay to be written. 3 parts: the introduction of the essay, where you introduce the topic. You say what you are feeling like. Then the body part, where you will give both sides of the issue. And then the conclusion, where you take whatever side you are taking, right? So that's your 3 parts of the essay. Now, the essay response is typed on the computer. You get a basic word processor on which you type. Now, there are very basic functions in that. So there's insert text, delete text, cut, paste, and undo. But unfortunately, you do not have a spell check. So spelling checks are not possible. Also, there is no grammar check. So, for example, when you use Word or something like that, there is a grammar check, there's a spell check. In Google, you can add a Grammarly plugin and so on. Not here. So, you need to make sure that your spelling is correct, your grammar is correct, your punctuation is correct, right? And of course, everything else, as we know, the hygiene factors need to be taken care of. And then, of course, whatever you're writing, you're scored on that. So that's your essay writing section. Vansh, have you been able to fill up the form? Now, if we look at the verbal reasoning section, we'll take a moment and look at that. Durga, are you able to understand? Any doubts till now? All right, wonderful. So, all right, wonderful. So let's look at the verbal reasoning section. So here, this section assesses your ability to understand what you read and how you apply your reasoning skills. Now, there are 3 types of questions that you will get in the verbal reasoning section. You have the reading comprehension, you have the text completion, and you have the sentence equivalence. So in reading comprehension, you are given a passage, and that question is followed by anything from 2 to 4 or to 5 questions, and you answer questions based on that. Okay, the questions can be of 3 types. Multiple choice, where you select one answer choice because 5 options are given. Multiple choice, select one or more answer choices from 3 options. That's your second type. And then the select in passage, where you have to select one sentence from the passage depending on the question. So these are the 3 question types that you get in RC. In text completion, this is a filler. It can be a 1 blank filler. It can be a 2 blank filler. Or it can be a 3 blank filler also. Okay. So in the sentence, can I send? Yes, yes, of course. I'll send you the link again. Here you go. It's in the chat box, Vansh. So the 1 blank filler will have 5 options. So you choose one correct answer there. Okay. The 2 blank will have 3 options for each. Okay. And therefore, there will be one answer here and one correct answer here. And the 3 blank will have 3 options for each. So there will be a total of 9 options. And there will be one correct answer for all the blanks. That means 3 correct answers. So that's your text completion. And then you have sentence equivalence, where one sentence is given. 6 words are given, out of which any 2 have to be chosen. 2 correct answers are there. These 2 correct answers you will get as your answer. Here you're looking for synonyms. Okay. So that's your sentence equivalent. So these are all the type of questions that you get in verbal ability. Did you understand, Durga? Vansh? Vansh. Yeah, it is 1 hour and yeah. It's a 1 hour and 58 minute. That means just a little under 2 minutes under 2 hours. 1 hour and 58 minutes. 5 sections to be done. 30 minutes, 18 minutes, 23 minutes, 21 minutes, and 26 minutes. Okay? You're welcome. All right. Now, if you look at the quantitative reasoning section, the math section, now it is assessing your ability to interpret and analyze quantitative information and solve problems using mathematical models. Question types can be quantitative comparison, which can be multiple choice one answer, multiple choice one or more answers, or a numeric entry. The fundamentals of basic maths and elementary mathematical concepts such as arithmetic, algebra, geometry, data analysis, all of that is being tested. You get an on-screen calculator and you can use that to solve your questions. Okay? All right. Now, a little more about the verbal reasoning section and the quantitative reasoning section. This exam is section level adaptive. Now, what do we mean by section level adaptive? So the section level adaptive means that the computer chooses the second section of, let's say, verbal or quantitative based on your performance in the first section. So you do poorly in the first section, you do averagely well in the first section, or you do extremely well on the first section. Depending on this, the second section will come. Okay. So if you do poorly on the first section, the link is not working. Well, I think it was working earlier, Vansh. It's okay. If it is not working, it's not working. What can be done about it? Let me try. Okay, so I'm able to see the link. Try pasting it in this thing. Or if you just click on the link, I think it should open. If you double click on the link, yeah, it is opening up a page. I'm able to open up a page by double clicking also, and also by pasting it into Chrome. Okay. So Durga says that initially she also got the same problem. Once you refresh, you can fill it. Thank you, Durga. That's very kind of you. All right. So, no, I'm not. So you are the kind one. All right. So did you understand? So if you do poorly on the first section, the the questions that you will get on the second section will be very easy and low scoring ones. So maybe they will be very low scoring ones. If you do averagely well, you will do medium scoring well ones. And if you do extremely well, then you will get high scoring, questions in the second section. So, and then within that section, all the questions will contribute equally to your final score. So both the sections are important because the final score, it will be based on the total number of correct answers and the level of difficulty of the question. So remember, it's important thing that points are not deducted for wrong answer. So it's always better to guess than to leave an answer blank. So do not guess, do guess, do not leave any answer blank. I hope you were able to understand what this section level adaptive is. Yeah. All right, let's go to the next part. Now your scores are reported on 3 sections. So you're scored on analytical writing, you scored on verbal, and you scored on quant. Analytical writing, you get anything from 0 to 6 in half-point increments depending on how well you write. If you just write 100 words, you would get something like 0 or 1. Okay. You can write up to anything up to 450 to 500 words. Okay. And depending on what you write, your score would be high. In verbal, you can get 130 to minimum of 130 to 170 marks in 1 point increments. So 131, 132, that's how the scores go up. In quant also, you start with 130, then go to 131 and so on, 1 point increment. The interesting thing is analytical writing is scored by 2 readers, one human reader and one computer reader. And the average of both their scores is your final score. Okay. So that's a little bit about your essay writing and the scoring. Now let's look at a few questions from each of these sections. We'll try and read. Okay, so here are a few vocabulary questions. Let's look at this first one. So this is what we call a text completion. Okay, so a sentence is given. A blank is there and there are 5 options. Try and fill it up. I will put out the poll for this question. See if you can answer the question on the poll. Okay, I'm going to give you 2 minutes for this. That's okay. So what is your answer? You tell me. I will end the poll. You can choose your answer and tell me what your answer is. If we look at this question, it says the reception. Reception means the welcome. That is given to Kimura's radical theory. Radical means path-breaking, new, very unusual theory shows. The reception shows what? So look at this beautiful sentence. Reception is showing something. And what it is showing? That when something fights orthodoxy, something fights orthodoxy. So therefore, these two have to be opposite words, right? Now, if orthodoxy means old-fashioned, this has to be something new. Then he also says novelty has seized a good chunk of space from convention. So see, I've got orthodoxy and convention are parallel. Similarly, novelty and this word has to be parallel. So which of these words will be a parallel to novelty? It cannot be imitation because that's a copy. So that's old. Reaction is again a response to something. So that's also not new. Dogmatism is orthodoxy. So that is also not correct. Right? Invention, which is new, is the correct answer, not caution. So answer will be when invention fights orthodoxy, then novelty has seized a good chunk of space from convention. And the correct answer, that's that. Okay. All right, let's look at the next question. Now, this one is a sentence equivalence. Now, what do we mean by a sentence equivalence? A sentence equivalence means you get a sentence and you have to choose any two words, okay, which are synonymous. Okay, so that you get two synonymous sentences, same meaning sentences. Okay, both sentences have to mean the same. So therefore, the two words you're choosing are synonyms. Look for those two, that will be your correct answer. You can write that in the chat box. Again, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to read and identify what the correct answer is. You can't hear me. Uh, Monu, can you hear me? मोनू, क्या आप मुझे सुन पा रहे हैं? Durga, if you can unmute your system once, mute it and unmute it once. Maybe that's the problem. Durga, Monu is able to hear me, so I think it's not a problem in my system. It's probably a problem at your end. So check once. If by any chance you've muted or reduced the volume on your system. Check, please. Yeah, of course you can rejoin. Monu, she can rejoin, na? Try that. I'll wait. Let her come back and then we'll restart. Pause कर दीजिए मोनू तब तक. Hi, Durga. Welcome back. Are you able to hear me now? Check your volume. Hello, Shreya. Can you hear me? Welcome, Shreya. Can you hear me, Shreya?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, all right. Wonderful. Good to have you here. So, where are you from, Shreya?
Hyderabad.
Oh, okay. And what are you doing currently?
Currently, I'm in third year.
You're into third year. Third year of what?
BTech CC.
Okay, wonderful. So, planning to write GRE?
Yes, ma'am. Next sem.
Okay. Okay, wonderful. Welcome, yeah, Shreya. Good to have you here. I think there's some problem going on. But anyway. All right. So we were talking about what all types of questions come in the exam. So I'll quickly take you through. I was taking Durga also through the different types of questions. So let's go. Let's discuss this. So this is a question on sentence equivalence. Okay. Now you can hear me. Wonderful. Great. Sure. So let's take a look at this question. We'll try and solve it together. We'll try and solve it together. So you're looking for two words which are synonymous, which we will use to fill this blank here. Okay. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes, read and all right. Let's take a look, guys. Okay. So it says the plan has passed a governmental environmental review. So governmental environmental review, the plan has passed, but it faces opposition from outdoor and environmental groups. So there are some groups which are not happy with this, but government has approved it. So what kind of levels are you trying to reduce the pumping to? So probably harmless, right? I'm looking for harmless and a synonym. So innocuous, benign, these are two words that will work. Feasible is practical, possible, right? Practicable is something that you can do. doable. Okay. Minimal is least. Remedial is something that is curative. So none of these words are actually synonymous and therefore will not work. So B, C, D, E, these will not work. The correct answer here will be A and F. So the aquifer would be saved by reducing pumping to harmless levels. The engineers are saying that, oh, it is harmless now. But the opposition is there from outdoor and environmental groups. So A and F, those will be the correct answers. Okay. All right, let's go to the next one. Now, this is a two blank question. So we know text completion can come in many blanks. This is a two blank text completion. Blank number 1 for which you have these choices and blank number 2 for which you have these choices. Okay, again, let's take 2 minutes and try and solve it. All right, let's take a look. Okay, so I've got one answer from Durga. She says A and D. Let's try A and D. Okay, so this says, let's read the sentence and try and understand what it is saying. It says the brief survey. So the survey is brief. Okay, is surprisingly something. Now the word surprising shows contrast. So you were expecting something else has happened. Okay, what were you expecting? Just give me one. All right. So if on one side I have brief and it is surprising, then the other side it has to be very long, right? So do I have a word for long here? Distorted? No. Objective? No. Comprehensive? Yes. So therefore here I can place comprehensive. Very good, Shreya. So I'm going to put comprehensive here. Okay. Then it says indeed. Indeed is a repetition. I'm restating it. It makes several longer treatments. Now the longer works seem to be what? Now, so because this brief work is surprisingly detailed, therefore the longer works now seem useless, right? So I'm looking for redundant. Not pithy. Pithy means short. So the longer works don't seem short. The longer works seem useless. Why are we using these large books? Why are we reading 500 pages if we can do in 100 pages? So therefore they appear to be very long and redundant. So therefore D. Not premature. Premature means before its time. So C and D is the correct answer. Okay. I hope you got that. All right. Now this one is a 3 blank text completion. So 3 blanks and 3 sets of options. Let's read and try. So blank 1, blank 2, and blank 3. Again, I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Read and solve. And then you can put the answer in the chat. All right. I have both of you given your answer, CEH or okay, I've got a C for both of you. One of you have given CEH and the other is given CD and then H or G. Let's take a look. Oh, what fun. So it says rather than viewing something as the inevitable something of intransigent opposing forces. So if I have intransigent opposing forces, so if there are opposing forces, are they going to come together or are they going to fight? So they're going to fight. So I'm looking for a word which says fight, collision. Then we say opposing forces are what? Radical and some beliefs. Radical is path breaking. So obviously opposite will be orthodox belief. So therefore E. So very good. I start with C. I come to E. Okay. And then male and female piety, see, these are contrast, and something and secular power. So secular is irreligious. So I'm looking for religious power. Now cerebral is brainy, so that will not work. Civil is governmental, to do with people, so will not work. So clerical. Now this word clerical comes from my bad, yeah. Sometimes I write so badly, no? My mind is working faster than my fingers. This one comes from clergy. Clergy are priests in the Christian church. They're clergy, okay, or clergymen. So their work is clerical, not the bureaucratic clerks. So this clerical. So therefore, the correct answer will be C, E, and G. Okay. So none of you got it right. Uh, One of you got C right, the other one got C and G right. So, well, that's how it is. Sometimes you will get them right. But remember, score only when you get all three correct. That's important. All right, let's come to reading comprehension. We'll take a look at a small passage. Here is the passage. We'll read it and then I'll take you to the questions that follow. Again, take 2 minutes, read, and then we'll discuss. All right, guys. I hope you are done. Let's take a look. So it says policy makers, people who make the policies. Now they must confront a dilemma. Dilemma means there's a problem, there's a doubt. What is the problem? That fossil fuels are still being used, even though burning them is producing carbon dioxide and atmospheric accumulations of carbon dioxide, which increase the likelihood of potentially means possibly disastrous global climate change. So climate change can happen, it might be disastrous. Now he says currently as of now, the technology that would take this carbon dioxide and hide it away instead of releasing it might double the cost. So the cost of generating electricity might go up to 2 times. x. Okay, so if it is x today, it can become 2x. Then he says, but the minute you see a but, you know there is a twist in the tail. It's not going to become 2x. So he says, because sequestration does not affect the cost of transmission and distribution. So T&D cost remains the same. It's only the generation cost that goes up. So the delivered prices will rise less. So therefore, whatever was x earlier is not 2x, but is only 1.5x. It's only increasing by 50%, right? Okay. So this cost remains the same. It's only this is which is being doubled. So therefore, the generation cost is 50% of the cost of this electricity, right? Now, when you do research into better technologies for capturing carbon dioxide, for sure there will be lowered costs. So that's what we are saying. All right. Now let us look at what we are saying. So the passage implies what? Implies means you understand from the passage. What? About the current cost of generating electricity. So what is the current cost of generating electricity? Let's find out. Which option? I'm going to put out a poll for you. One answer. I'm waiting for the other one. So one of you has said C is the correct answer. Let's take a look at our options also. So option number one says it is higher than it would be. But that is just predictive. We don't know if it is higher currently. So not A. It is somewhat less than the cost of T&D. Again, we don't know. It constitutes at most half of the delivered price. Yes, we've just calculated it. It is dwelt on by policymakers. No. It is not fully recovered by the prices. We don't know. So the correct answer, yes, is C. That the generating electricity cost is only 50% of the delivered price of electricity. That is why when the cost of generating becomes double, the cost of total delivered price becomes 1.5 because the first portion, that of transmission and distribution, remains as it is. Right? So that's what. All right, let's look at the next question. Now this question, because there are three options, you can choose one or more options. I'm just going to give you a minute to read and solve. Okay, both of you have given me an answer. Durga says A and B, and Shreya says B. Oh, sorry, A. Let's take a look. So the passage suggests, again, you have to understand this, that when you have extensive use of sequestration, over time, which of these will happen? That burning of fossil fuels would eventually cease to produce. No, you would still produce, but you would be able to sequester it. So A is not correct. Okay. It won't cease to produce. You will be able to sequester it. The proportion of delivered price of electricity due to generation would rise first, yes, and then decline, because the very last line said that it will definitely go down. So therefore, B, yes. Power plants would consume progressively lower quantities of, no, why would they consume lower quantities? They will still consume whatever quantities they are consuming. It's just that the carbon dioxide which will come out will be able to sequester it. So not C. So the correct answer here is going to be option B. And that's your answer. All right. Now here, the select in passage. So you have to select a sentence which gives you the reason, which explains why an outcome of sequestration, or something that would come out of sequestration that you would expect, will not occur. So X had to happen because of sequestration. There is some outcome that would happen. And then you say, this is not going to happen because of certain reason. Okay. So to find that statement which says this outcome is not going to happen. Okay. Let's go to the passage and see. Okay. Here. No. That's not the one. See, I'll tell you the one which says that there is an impact. This one. So because sequestration does not affect the cost of transmission and distribution, so something should be expected that the delivered prices will rise, but not as much as expected. So there is a reason here. So this statement, the one that I have marked, will be the correct answer. So you expect that the delivered prices will rise, but it will not happen as much as you are expecting it. So the correct answer, see, an outcome of sequestration. What was the outcome? Delivered prices to double. That would not occur. Why? Because it's only partial, right? All right. Then sometimes you can get critical reasoning questions also. Now the paragraph is displayed. So the examination screen is like this. It is split into two parts like this. Here is the paragraph, here is the passage, and here is the question. So the question changes from one, it goes to the next one, to two, to three, to four, but the paragraph remains the same. Okay. All right. Then you have questions on critical reasoning also. Now, the questions on critical reasoning expect you to understand what the passage is saying, what is the author trying to tell you, and then try and solve it. So, for example, here, which of the following most seriously weakens the argument? So, you have to say that whatever the author has said is not correct. Okay. So, the author's argument, because we know, therefore shows it. So, the campaign did nothing to further Diet's economic interest. This is the argument. We have to say that it is false, that the campaign did a lot to further Diet's economic interest. So let's again take a moment, read this, and then read the options and try and see which one is correct. I will put out a poll at the end of 2 minutes. Now, nobody's given me an answer. Let's take a look. So, what does this question say? It says a year ago, this company launched a campaign, 1 year long campaign for canned tuna. And then they sold 12 million cans of tuna. And prior to that, they had sold 10 million. So let's say 2023, they sold 10 million. And then in 2024, they sold 12 million. So this 2 million increase has happened because of the new customers that came because of the campaign. Okay, but this profit from this 2 million was very low. Okay, it was less than the cost of the campaign, advertising campaign. Okay, so therefore this campaign was very useless. If you did not bring enough profit, then it's very pointless. But we want to say that the campaign worked, right? That campaign was good. Now, if you look at option number 1, sales of canned tuna is a small percentage of diet's food. So then this actually supports the argument that campaign was useless. To eliminate. Most people were already loyal customers, so useless campaign, no new customer came. So this is also supporting eliminate. A less expensive advertising campaign would have brought in significantly fewer new customers. Okay, so this says, okay, if you had had a cheaper advertising campaign, you would have had fewer new customers. So this can be something that weakens the argument. Diets made money. Okay, so they were profitable. Okay, this is also supporting. So you cannot say it did nothing to further diet's economic interest. In each of the past 5 years, there was a steep industry-wide decline in sales of canned tuna. And here is a company which had 2 million, that means 20% extra sales. So if the entire industry was in a decline and you had a 20% increase in sales, did the advertising campaign work? Yes, it did in a big way. And therefore, between option C, D, and E, also option E is the best answer. Okay. Did you understand, guys? All right. Let's go to we'll wrap it up now. All right. So in case you want to know anything else about our GRE prep and admissions, you can call Deepak at this number. 9891301701. Okay. This is the number. All right, guys. So, Durga, do you want to ask any questions if you have any doubts or anything? All right, let me just give out the link again and you can, if you haven't filled it up, then you can fill it up, right? Shreya, are you there? Oh, Shreya, I think has left. All right, Durga, I hope the session was helpful and I hope I've been able to answer questions. If there's anything else you want to ask, please feel free to ask. I'm here. Sorry, yaar, you will have to ask Deepak only the fee details. I'm sorry, I'm not aware of the fee details. Okay, I can tell you about the course and the what we will be teaching, but the fees and all, I think only Deepak will be able to tell you. Okay, so please connect with him on this number. He'll be able to help you. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. Take care.